The world is inside the cells that's inside of me. Prodigy, living my life like I won the lottery because I did. I know my presence a gift and I'm rich. God's favored and born to be doing this. And today we're going to be talking about authority. After spending some weeks talking about authenticity and getting a deeper sense of all these concepts and oneness and talking about them in detail, we're going to continue our chat into authority. Notice that actually we'll be talking about almost the same thing from a different angle. The same thing, actually, but from a different angle. Because when you really look and ask the question about who has authority over you, the answer is you. It is you that has authority. You are the authority. And that this thing we've been describing this whole time called authenticity is another form of authority. The authentic person, at the end of the day, when you've looked at them, they have taken their authority. They have commit to the story that they are the authority. That's what it means, that their intuition and their self-actualization is something that will be defined by them rather than a bunch of stuff out there in the world. To have authority, to be authentic, means that you embody a self-authority on everything, on all kinds of things. Now, you can do it bit by bit. There are so many points of power that you have in your life. There's so many moments in your life every day where you are choosing and you have an opportunity to wrest the authority from the world and to grasp it and to own it and be authentic. You can do that everything from your clothes choices to your career choices to the way that you relate to other people in the world, how you define other people and how you define yourself. And that's what authority is. And you're so powerful with it that you can also energetically agree to give up your authority. You're so powerful that you can agree to a story, you can accept it as true, and consciously, unconsciously, subconsciously, you can abdicate your authority. That's how authoritative you are. That's the paradoxical nature of just how deep your free will is. Paradoxically, your free will is so deep that you can relinquish your free will and you can choose to accept a bunch of stories. You can choose to accept authority figures. You can choose to accept stories about authority figures. You could tune into cable news networks and you assume that these people have advanced degrees, and you assume the presumptions of the room that this is a conversation of elite, you know what I'm saying, communicators and people who care about reality. You can assume that and take their words and their assumptions for granted and believe them and assume that you're looking at authority figures and don't do the further deeper research and don't do the further like analysis and look at the world itself. You can abdicate your authority. And that's the problem. That's what's going on. That's why over the last 2 episodes, I talked about this interaction I had with a racist, like, old friend. That person is disconnected. That person is not in tune with what we're talking about, right? The person who watches Fox News and, agrees that the left is something that needs to be attacked. The president comes up with all these claims. The economy is doing perfect, right? It all makes sense. The war in Iran is perfect. Yeah, let's get Pete Hegseth on here and let's talk, and this is all good. And they assume and they agree to that. They're disconnected from reality. They're not interested in truth. They're only interested in finding the authority figure. You know what I'm saying? They're looking for authority. So Trump stands up authoritatively, does his thing, and Sean Hannity asks a stupid question, and it's just a lack of discernment. It's just a lack of awareness. The broader awareness that you are the authority, that you can't for your own safety, for your own awareness, for your own best interest, you can't abdicate your authority. You can't, you technically can, but that you shouldn't. That you are less safe when you do so. And the world is less safe. You end up in my DMs screaming racist nonsense because you've assumed a bunch of things, and you're disconnected from God. You're disconnected from yourself. You don't know how to experience the world through a clean, authoritative, independent lens. You experience the world through the words that you see. You can't watch this show and actually appreciate the knowledge and the wisdom that we talk about here. You see a black kid or something. You whatever words you have, whatever assumptions you have. He said I was chimping out or whatever. That's what he said. He's borrowing words that he heard from the people that he holds in high regard, from the people that he talks to and speaks to. They created a whole vernacular and a set of assumptions and a normalization of a certain worldview. Why do that? Because he doesn't know that he's an authority. There's no clue. And he's like maybe the worst case. He's one of the worst cases. But our point here is for us to be able to notice ourselves and notice the little ways that we abdicate our authority and we, assume and we join in with the story. Where you think that your own eyes and your own senses and your own value set that needs to be sort of spoken in hushed tones, and you have to be careful. And there are other people who know better. CNN, they've got a panel of people, and this guy's got certain labels and he's accredited in a certain way. He's been validated, and so that guy must be, the things he says must make some sense. When in fact it makes absolutely no sense. Because you are the authority. And you have to know that. Because what all that is you're taking in the difference between the dude who was in my DM and the difference between that person and the person I'm talking to here on this show is a deeper sense of awareness, is a wider sense of awareness. The scope and the framework that we're looking at phenomena in the world includes. It's like here he's got this little frame. Jesse's in this little frame, and then we're out here, and it's like, oh yeah, no, those are TV shows, and they have interests, and they have advertising dollars, and they have CEOs, and they have Barry Weiss coming in and dictating things, and ruining 60 Minutes, and then oh, you can't watch that with, this is entertainment at the end of the day, no matter how it's packaged, and so you pull out further, and let that disorient you. Maybe you thought that these were infallible sources of reality, and maybe so now you're disoriented a bit. You don't know, well, what is truth? How do I find it? And if you really follow that path, you will have to come back to the self. You will start to interrogate, like, sort of, what are you looking for then when you want to look for authority figures? You're looking for accreditation. You're looking for someone, who claims to be an expert. People can claim to be an expert. You're looking for a rank. You're looking for wealth. Some people they look for Elon Musk. They follow Elon Musk intently, and they presume that the things he has to say are intelligent. Why? Because he's the first trillionaire. He's a rich guy. He must be really smart. He must be, the things he must say, the things he says are authoritative, right? No, you're the authority. You have to be able to judge that even further. Obviously, Elon Musk is a human. And I mean, there's a whole bunch of things we can say about that, but we'll just leave it there. I mean, this video I'm doing about authority, it was partly inspired by this tweet from, I think, Kyle Kuzma, an NBA player, who was he was giving shots to everybody. He was saying, he didn't like people performing, and that people should stay in their lane. And then there was a claim about, like, mayors pretending to be presidents or mayors playing as presidents, and everyone has assumed that he was like taking a shot at Zoran Mamdani. And I wrote a post sort of rejecting that and challenging that, Because our whole thing, if we're gonna look at authority, then let's really look at the authority figures, yo. Like, let's look at what Zoran at the end. If it's true that he's looking at Zoran, as Zoran was talking about arresting the war criminal Benjamin Netanyahu. If we're gonna suggest that he needs to go back in his lane, then let's tell everybody to get in the fucking lane. Then, when these politicians go on television and lie about genocide because they want to keep their funding dollars coming, they don't have the authority to do that. They don't have the authority to completely vote against the will of their constituents. That's not the agreement that everybody signed up for when they voted for this person. You know what I'm saying? So there's authority challenges happening all over the place, and then you have to ask, so in what, towards what goal, towards what aim? You know, you look at Zoran, you're seeing someone who's actually standing up for values that are universal. You know, Donald Trump, apart from all the things he's doing, dismantling the U.S. government in numerous ways from the very beginning of this administration, right? I saw an article that he's got that it's not Twitter, it's his own thing called Truth Social, his own truth posts, whatever. They are offering a tiered level of where when Donald Trump and like 10 other influential people, when Donald Trump tweets, they would get immediate access. So these people would pay a premium fee to get immediate access to Trump's tweets, and other people would be delayed by, I don't know, several minutes, if not several hours. And they were doing a whole thing about it, and they were talking very openly and candidly that they can charge thousands for this because there are industries that would benefit from this. Banks and trading firms, like stock trading firms, because when the president tweets something, whether it's war or some new initiative, that this moves markets. So the president of the United States, while in office, is innovating and playing the capitalism game, using his very unique position as not just the head of state, but a man, a guy who his words move markets, and then creating a tiered payment system for banks and trading firms that will go to his company, his media company. And we'll say, well, he has no authority to do that. I mean, I don't know exactly what we mean, right? It's unprecedented. The whole concept of Truth Social and Twitter is unprecedented. We're in a unique moment, unique technologies. He's moving and creating something that I don't think he should be doing. Certainly, I think government should not be playing this way. I'll put that straight, but that has something to do. It's not authority, though. That has something to do with his own. You need people who are integrous in these positions. You need integrity-minded people who have the best interests of the country. That's why you don't vote Donald Trump in. But in terms of authority, this is a wide open game. You are free. There are people who play this thing with their freedom. And I support those people who play the game with a freedom and like a connection to all of us as an individual, sovereign, free will, freedom. Also keeping in mind our connections, not moving so freely that you don't see the humanity in someone, and you make an argument for killing people and killing children. You make an argument for a self-interested profit scheme that endangers the livelihoods of thousands of other people, let's say, things like this. There's a balance at play. There's a balance at play in this thing. But that you're the authority at the end of the day. You are the authority at the end of the day. And as a Black man, I speak to everyone, frankly. Anybody can watch this and learn, but I know, for instance, like I said, Kuzma wanted to challenge Zoran and tell him about his authority. I've grown too much up, and I think too many Black men, we are taught too much stories about authority. We're taught about, your goal is to be validated by an authority. You want to play by the rules, and this thing is wide open. And any attempt, any sort of not any attempt at validation. Validation is cool. Validation works. You know, you can monetize validation. You can find love in validation. There's a lot. Validation is cool as well. But if you are too deeply oriented to validation, you need to be your sense of authority is limited by what can be validated. Let's say you will only move so far as what can be validated. You know what I'm saying? There's a texture of like what your freedom is that you never really access. Um, and that's going to limit you in all the ways, yeah. Psychologically, spiritually, emotionally, financially, like all the ways, because other people are stepping into authority, acting, being visionary, being imaginative, being open to the imagination, um, rather than being closed off and waiting and looking for permission and uncertain about their authority. So that's the message, yo. You are the authority. You got this. Keep going. I see the God in you. Check out the rest of the channel. Look out for some new music coming out soon, by the way, as well. And thanks for checking me out, yo. Subscribe. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.